I hook my fingers through the gift bag handles and make my way up the cracked path to my parents' front door. The evening is warm and sweet with spring, carrying two scents that have lived in my memory for years: my father's cigarettes and my mother's geraniums. Each step tightens my stomach. It's been 3 months since I came by. I chose these gifts carefully, thinking maybe they could soften whatever has been hardening between us. Look who remembered her roots. My father calls the second I cross the threshold. He doesn't rise from his sunken recliner. His eyes sweep me pressed slacks, the name badge I forgot to take off. Well, the fancy hotel manager visits the common folk. Hi, Dad. I form a smile that feels like holding a plank for too long. Jack drifts out of the kitchen with a beer, all casual swagger. 32 and still home, apprenticing under Dad's version of life. The mill of the grind. Nice suit, he smirks. Polyester must dazzle the rich. The bags rattle in my grip. I breathe once, slow. Family is family, I tell myself. Even when every sentence comes with a blade tucked inside. I brought a few things, I say, setting the bags on the coffee table as Mom enters with a dishcloth. Her gaze meets mine, then slips away as if the moment is too bright to look at. Dad, this is for your night shift's insulated windproof. Reviews say it keeps you warm even when it's icy. His callous fingers pry the package open. For one blink, he looks almost grateful. Then something guarded settles over his face. Mom, you mentioned a ceramic cookware set at Thanksgiving. I pass the heavier bag. She receives it with a cautious smile. And Jack, I slide a box his way. You liked my watch a while back. This one's similar. Dad clears his throat. So hotel money makes you generous, huh? That why you don't call? Too busy counting paychecks? He climbs my neck. I swallow. Actually, I have good news. I was promoted to senior manager last week. My hand smooths my slacks. Old habit. It's a big step. Silence lands heavy and familiar, the same weight that fell the first time I said the word college. I still remember the plate Dad hurled into the sink that night, the speech about real work being done with hands, not with books. Aunt Annie had been the only one who smiled, slipping a check into my palm and whispering, "Education is never wasted." Now, Dad's jaw tightens like a door slamming. Why does every time I move forward feel like a betrayal in this house? I thought it might help if you saw what I actually do, I add, reaching for my laptop bag. The machine is brand new bought with an advance I'll be paying off for months. I put together a renovation proposal that got corporate to invest in our property. I'm presenting it to potential investors tomorrow. I open the silver laptop carefully, avoiding the ringed watermarks in the wood. This is the deck, I say, typing my password. It matters to me. Dad snorts. A shiny computer won't save you when the hotel goes under. Tourist spots always dry up. My fingers hover above the keys. This isn't about showing off. This is weeks of research and late nights, my first major project as a senior manager. Mom stands in the doorway clutching the cookware box, eyes fixed on the floor. Jack sets his unwrapped watch down with a clack. Still trying to prove you're better than us? He says. Pathetic. 3 against 1 in a living room that has never belonged to me. My future resting in the device on my lap. I'm meeting Aunt Annie for lunch tomorrow to celebrate, I say, keeping my voice even. She's thrilled. Dad's face darkens. My sister filled your head with nonsense about being someone you're not. She believed in me when you didn't, I say, closing the laptop and slipping it back into its sleeve. A small move. A necessary one. She loaned me the first semester when you wouldn't. And what did that buy you? He mutters. Working for people who drop you to save $1. I should go, I say, rising. Big presentation to finish. Mom glances up, something like regret flickering through her eyes, then disappearing. Jack toys with his new watch. Dad watches the TV like I'm already gone. On my way to the door, a thought settles with surprising calm. Maybe they'll never recognize my worth, but others do. My director, my team, Aunt Annie. Maybe that's enough. I slide the laptop strap over my shoulder. Big day tomorrow. I try for lightness. Dad's gaze follows me. His jaw works. The air shifts. Wait, he says. He sets his beer down carefully. You think you can breeze in after 3 months, drop guilt presents, and just leave? I'm not. You've always acted above us, he says, standing suddenly blocking the door. The hotel job. The press close. Jack chuckles. She thinks she fits in with the rich now. I look to Mom. Her fingers trace the cookware box like it might tell her what to do. Dad, please. I have to prepare. People are counting on me. He laughs, sharp, humorless. People count on me too. At the mill. Then he lunges. His hands clamp the laptop and wrench. Dad, stop. The anger in his face looks decades old as he lifts the computer high. Time slows. My body forgets how to move. He slams it down. The crack ricochets through the room. The screen splinters. The frame warps. The hinge snaps. Plastic skitters across the carpet. I drop to my knees beside the wreckage. My presentation. My promotion. Weeks of work. The room tilts. Now you'll learn what real work feels like. Jack says, satisfied. A memory slices through. Dad tearing my college application in half. Textbooks accidentally drowned the night before exams. An acceptance letter that found a wrong turn into the fireplace. This isn't new. This is the pattern. How could you? My voice is steady, surprising, even me. Everything for tomorrow is on here. The hotel's counting on me. Hotels come and go, Dad says, unmoved. Family is forever. The words turn something inside me to iron. I lift my phone and take photos close, wide-angled. The damage. The receipt in my wallet for the 6 payments I still owe. What are you doing? Dad demands. I don't answer. Casey. He tries again. Voice suddenly reasonable. The one he saves for neighbors. I'm saving you from disappointment? That world isn't for people like us. What does that even mean? I ask, collecting the larger shards, weighing them gently in the bag. Jack shifts, beer in hand. They're bringing machines into the mill. We could lose everything. Fear not malice crosses Dad's face, raw and unmasked. If you fall, at least we're together, he says thickly. Family sticks. I really look at him, at the tremor in hands forged by 3 decades of steel, the deep lines carved by worry. They aren't villains from a fable. They're terrified and making terrible choices. Your father wants what's best. Mom whispers, loyalty stronger than wind or weather. I tuck the wreckage into my bag. Each broken piece is a ledger entry in a long account of sabotage. I hoped we could be a family. I say, standing straighter than I feel. I was wrong. Don't be dramatic, Dad scoffs. It's just a computer. It's not the computer, I say, gripping the strap. It's respect. I walk out. Instead of pointing my car home, muscle memory steers me to Aunt Annie's street. Her porch light glows like a beacon. Before I knock, she opens the door, reading my face, clocking the bag in my arms. Honey, she says, drawing me into a hug that smells like cinnamon and steadiness. What happened? At her kitchen table, I lay out the wreckage. I explain. She listens like few people can. Then she disappears into the spare room and returns with an old laptop. It isn't pretty, but it works, she says, setting it beside the ruin. They can break things. They don't get to break you. It's not about a laptop, I say, tracing a crack with my finger. It's about respect. Then let's make tomorrow undeniable, she says, eyes bright. We rebuild. That night at 2:13 a.m., I pace her living room carpet and talk to IT support on speaker. Annie arrives with tea. When I hang up, I exhale. Backed up to the company drive, I say, autosave. I can pull everything down. Smart girl, she says. I learned after the college letter went missing, I admit. I back up everything now. Annie settles into her chair. Your father did this to me once. Broke my camera the week before my scholarship interview. You never told me. Some stories come out later, she says. Have you noticed these accidents happen right before your big moments? It lands with a dull thud. Application week. First day car trouble. The night before this presentation. I nod, throat tight. She opens a drawer and sets a small notebook in front of me. My mother's neat handwriting fills the pages, dates, jobs, raises. She's been keeping track, Annie says softly. Part of her is proud. She just doesn't know how to show it. Clarity slides into place. They can't erase what I know or unlearn what I've earned. We work until the sky begins to pale. The old laptop huffs and hums, but holds. By morning, the new deck is leaner, stronger, every obstacle recast as an advantage. At 7 a.m., I hit save, close my eyes for 20 minutes, and then dress. The boardroom is cool and wide when I step in with Annie's brick of a laptop. 6 faces glance up. The director's brow lifts at the relic in my hands. Casey, all good with your equipment? I set it down and meet his gaze. Sometimes obstacles drop right in front of an opportunity, I say. How we respond defines us. Cables that Annie dug from an attic connect with a decisive click. My opening slide blooms on the screen crisp, clean, unflinching. Our hotel stands at a similar crossroads, I begin. Budget constraints can be a wall or an invitation to innovate. I feel the room shift. Curiosity replaces skepticism. For 20 minutes, I show them how character beats expense, how uniqueness outperforms uniformity. The old laptop hums like a mantra. Resilience, resilience. When I finish, the director closes his folder. I wasn't sure about increasing budgets, he says. I am now. Your team will receive the first allocation. My phone vibrates with texts. I don't read my parents asking for bill money that's 3 days late. I silence it and accept handshakes, congratulations, the nod from maintenance I've never earned before. Near the elevators, the director catches me. Impressive, especially under unusual circumstances. He hesitates. A housekeeper saw your family in the parking lot yesterday. Is everything okay? It's complicated, I say. We invest in people who invest in themselves, he says. If you need an advance for a new machine, just ask. Before I can answer, Annie appears with a small bouquet of yellow daisies. I knew you'd knock them flat, she says, pulling me into a hug dot my colleagues watch with something that looks like pride. These people see me. They value what I build. Stay with me until things cool down, Annie says as we walk out. My house is your house. Sunlight warms my face. The question that's been drilling a hole in my chest cut ties or try again loosens its grip. I don't have to decide today. I have time. I have a team. I have Annie. Thank you for believing in me, I say. Always have, she answers, eyes on the road ahead. Always will. 3 days after the presentation, victory has cooled into resolve. I sit at Aunt Annie's dining table with my borrowed laptop, a calculator, and the forest of receipts. The glow of applause has faded. In its place is something steadier: systems, boundaries, a plan. This can't be about hurt, I tell Annie as she sets a mug of coffee by my elbow. It has to be about facts. The table becomes a command center. I build spreadsheets that trace every dollar I've poured into my parents' house. Utilities, groceries, Jack's insurance. Line by line, the past takes shape in tidy columns. Which ties are worth preserving? I mutter, adding a new field for decisions. Keep, transition, terminate. Sentiment won't steer this. Structure will. Annie leans in, glasses low on her nose. Your father did the same to your mother, she says softly. Tore up her nursing school application the night before it was due. I type the note not as a weapon, but as context. This isn't punishment, I say, squaring my shoulders. It's protection. I open apartment listings in a secure building near the hotel, half-complete lease blinking on the screen. I need a place they can't access, I explain when Annie arches an eyebrow. This is a rebuild, not a collapse. We move through everything: payroll redirection, emergency contacts, banking. I enroll in credit monitoring, lock down social settings, add two-factor authentication like sandbags before a storm. You've been covering their bills since your first management job, Annie murmurs. Eyes on the spreadsheet. 3 years, I reply, scrolling. Plus groceries, repairs, insurance. It isn't anger that firms my jaw. It's clarity. I assemble a folder labeled documentation dates, payments, texts, and emails requesting money. The photos of my shattered laptop. Not for revenge. For truth. The phone rings. Annie picks up, listens, then passes it to me. You need to see this, she says. 10 minutes later, I stand at the mezzanine window overlooking the hotel lobby. My parents are at the front desk, Dad's fist thudding the counter, Mom scanning the room, on the verge of tears. Jack hovers behind them, jaw set. My director steps beside me. They're asking for you, he says. Something about unpaid bills. A thread of ice slips through my spine. This isn't a house call. It's a stage. Security moves in with calm professionalism, guiding them toward the doors. Desks pause to watch. I breathe long and slow. No police, I tell the director. Let security handle it. The glass doors close behind my parents. The tension remains, but beneath it, a new certainty. They can't take this. Either. 3 weeks later, a key turns in a new lock. My second-floor apartment smells of fresh paint and space. The building has a lobby guard and fob-only access after hours features I selected like armor. Annie sets a box labeled kitchen on the counter and eyes the privacy film I've already applied to the windows. You travel light, she says. I brought what matters. I answer, taking in the small couch, the rescued coffee table, the new laptop on a simple desk. What's absent says more than what's here. No relics that hurt to touch, no handcrafted ornaments from school, no photos that lie about the past. I open my notebook and put check marks beside completed moves. New bank. Rerouted deposits, canceled auto payments, forwarded mail, changed number, privacy tightened everywhere. Annie watches me add another firm check. You're treating this like a renovation, she says, amused. It is, I say. Assess, plan, rebuild stronger. Not burning bridges, building boundaries. That night the phone buzzes. My stomach tightens on reflex, then releases when I see the credit monitoring confirmation. The lesson is simple and carved deep. Protect everything. In the morning. Steam curls from the bathroom mirror when Mom's name flashes across the screen. I answer, her voice trembles. The power company called. They said you canceled the automatic payments. We'll be shut off tomorrow. Why are you doing this to us? I open my mouth with the speech I practice, but she keeps talking. Your father is devastated. He told everyone you abandoned us. Your cousin Vicky asked how she could help. People are asking why you turned your back. The realization hits with the chill of river water. He's not just controlling my steps. He's rewriting the story. That's not what happened, I say, but she continues. He says you care more about your fancy job than your family. That we sacrificed everything for your education and now the mill's closing. I hang up gently, sit at my desk, and open a blank email addressed to our extended family. Subject: what actually happened? Dates, patterns, evidence. Not heat light. Annie finds me an hour later, fingers still moving across the keys. They're not just after my resources, I say. They're after the narrative. Then keep the record, she says, hand warm on my shoulder. Sometimes the bravest thing is defending the truth. 3 days pass. I'm reviewing guest feedback in the lobby when the doors slide open and I feel them before I see them. Dad wears his best hat, the one for bankers and funerals. Mom has on her pale blue church dress. Jack is uneasy in a button-down that doesn't belong to him. There she is, Dad announces, voice broad enough to fill the marble. Heads turn. Our hotel manager daughter. Every instinct says run. I root my heels to the tile. I'm on the clock, I say evenly. If it's urgent, Dad sweeps an arm around Mom like the politician. Is that how you greet your parents? We just wanted to invite you to Thanksgiving. The whole family, Uncle Jim, Aunt Denise, the cousins from Buffalo. I see the play in an instant, refuse publicly, and I'm cold. Accept, and I drop the boundaries. My director, Daniel, approaches. Mr. Miller, he says warmly, extending a hand. I recognize you from Casey's photos. Great to meet you. Dad straightens, slides on his charm. Just visiting to see where our daughter works her magic. Casey led a standout presentation last week, Daniel says. The board was impressed. That's our girl, Mom says softly, tears glassing her eyes at just the right shine. Jack adds a sincere, we're proud. That would convince anyone who doesn't know the script. You didn't mention they were coming, Daniel says to me. Still smiling. It was a surprise, Dad answers before I can, locking eyes with me. The mill is closing. We need her. The medical bills, the utilities. He lets the words hang, letting the lobby hear them too. I can feel judgment forming around us like fog. The ungrateful daughter. The suffering parents. Let's talk somewhere private, I say, gesturing to the small conference room off the lobby. My office is being painted. Relief flickers across Daniel's face. Dad hesitates. He likes the stage, but Mom touches his arm. They follow. As we cross the lobby, Jack leans in to whisper something to Dad. Strategy, coordination, my skin prickles. Casey. A familiar voice slices through the tension. Aunt Annie strides in, holding up a brown paper bag. You forgot your lunch again. Honestly, child, you'd forget your head. Our signal. The cavalry. Dad's jaw ticks at the sight of her. Annie falls into step beside me. A calm anchor. Daniel studies the shift in the air, glancing between Dad's stiffness and Annie's steady presence. Mr. Peterson, I say quietly, unlocking my phone. Before we go in, may I show you something? While my family exchanges tight hellos with Annie, I swipe to the photos of my shattered laptop and pass the screen to Daniel. This is why I borrowed equipment for the presentation, I whisper. This is what I'm managing? Understanding moves across his face like a shadow giving way to day. He nods once. I see. At the conference room door, I hold it open. My family files in. Annie takes his seat near the entrance, a quiet sentry. Daniel enters last, eyes clear now. I steady my breath and step inside. The room feels different under this kind of pressure, like standing on a bridge. You built yourself while a storm gathers? Jack leans at the window, arms crossed. Mom perches at the table, purse in her lap. Dad stands at the head as if the table is already his. We're worried about Casey. Dad begins, voice carrying just the right blend of concern and gravitas. The mill's closing. 200 families. Times like these, family sticks together. Daniel nods politely, then looks to me. I'm not sure why this required a visit during work hours. Dad leans in. She's not answering calls. She canceled our utilities. We fear the stress is too much. A month ago, I might have apologized, scrambled. Today, I open the folder I prepared. Director, I say, voice steady. I'd like to explain why I've set boundaries. I slide the first set of photos across the table. The spidered screen, the twisted hinge, the warped frame. This was my laptop the night before our investor meeting. My father destroyed it when I shared news of my promotion. The words don't tremble. It wasn't the first time. My college application was torn. My textbooks were soaked before exams. My car mysteriously wouldn't start on my first day as a manager. Dad reddens. I'm not finished, I say, calm as a still lake. I place a spreadsheet beside the photos. For 8 years, I have paid the household utilities while building my own career. These are the dates and amounts. Daniel scans the sheet, eyebrows lifting. This is significant. I add printed emails. Requests for bill money sent the same day the laptop was smashed. I turn to my parents. You cannot claim abandonment while accepting years of support and sabotaging the work that funds it. Silence stretches. Dad's posture deflates a fraction. Jack stares out the window. Mom meets my eyes for a fleeting, unguarded second. Annie speaks into the hush. Charles, you did it to me too, she says quietly. Broke my camera the night before my portfolio review. You did it to Monica with nursing. You're doing it to Casey now. Daniel clears his throat, tone crisp. Mr. Miller, destroying property is a crime. If my employee chooses to press charges, we will cooperate fully. Dad blanchens. That won't be necessary. Casey misunderstood. I understand perfectly, I say. You needed me to fail so you wouldn't have to face your fear that the world is changing. That isn't love. It's control. Danielle stands. This meeting is over. Any further disruption to my staff will involve security. Casey is a valued leader here. For a heartbeat, I think Dad might flip the table. His hands clench, release. Jack finally turns, the surprise in his face almost childlike. As if consequences were a language he's just begun to learn. Mom's voice is small. We need you. The mill's really closing. I know, I say. But needing me doesn't give you the right to wreck what I'm building. Daniel steps to the door. My father rises in a rigid motion. Jack follows. I meet them at the threshold. I'll always be your daughter, I say, but I won't be your victim. When you can respect my boundaries, we can talk. Not before. And never here. The door shuts behind them. The air in the room changes, as if someone opened a window. Annie squeezes my hand. You did what I never could, she whispers. Daniel faces me. How someone treats your success tells you who they are, he says. Your work last week already told me who you are. Today just confirmed it. For the first time in years, the ground under my feet feels like mine. The next week, I hold a coffee mug so tightly that warmth presses into my palms. Across the polished desk, the hotel director slides a framed certificate toward me. Employee of the quarter. My name embossed in gold. The board was particularly impressed with how you handled everything, she says, her voice soft but firm. Few people could deliver a flawless presentation after what you went through, let alone stand their ground so gracefully. I trace the edge of the frame, letting the words land. 3 weeks since the conference room showdown, and I still wake sometimes expecting to find myself back in my childhood bedroom, shrinking beneath someone else's anger. But that life feels further away every day. Thank you, I say simply. No deflection, no apology, just ownership. The way sunlight belongs to morning. The staff talk about it, you know, she adds with a smile. Not the drama, your composure. That kind of strength can't be trained. Outside the window, Families wander the landscaped path. A father lifts his daughter onto his shoulders. She squeals with laughter, tiny hands gripping his head for balance. A ghost of old ache stirs in me, but it's only a ghost now, faint and passing. Have you heard from them? The director asks gently. I shake my head. They left town the day after. Jack sent one text saying the mill officially closed. It's better this way, I add. I don't say that I sleep through the night now, or that mornings come without that pit of guilt. I don't say how quiet can be peace when it used to be punishment. That evening, Annie waits for me on her porch, 2 glasses of lemonade sweating on a little table between rocking chairs. Our Tuesday ritual, now circled in both our calendars. I made the appointment, I tell her as I sit. The therapist you recommended had an opening next week. Her face warms. Good. Understanding the patterns helps, Casey. Some wounds don't close without tending. I sip the lemonade. Tart, clean, alive. I updated my emergency contacts at work. Your first now. Annie squeezes my hand. About time. We sit quietly, rocking in rhythm while the sunset paints her azaleas gold. A car backfires down the street. For the first time in years, I don't flinch. She says, watching the light fade, family isn't always blood. I smile. Sometimes it's who believes in you. We clink our glasses. The sound rings like a benediction, 8 months later. I stand in the hotel's largest conference room, sunlight flooding the space as my team arranges chairs for a regional meeting. Maria, double-check the catering order, vegetarian options included. All set, Ms. Miller. She replies, clipboard against her chest. Welcome packets are ready too. Her confidence mirrors my own. Where anxiety once buzzed beneath my skin, calm rhythm now hums, deliberate, grounded. My morning routine begins with a gratitude journal instead of silent dread, 3 pages of small wins, lessons, and grace. The Anderson group arrives at noon. I tell the team, let's make it perfect. Perfect, the word that once felt like a weapon, now means something different. Direction, not destination. After work, I drive to the community center where I volunteer on weekends, teaching financial literacy. It started as a distraction, but it became purpose, helping others escape the same traps of dependence that held my parents. When I pull into my driveway, my own driveway, leading to the home I bought 3 blocks from Annie's, I feel that quiet satisfaction that never needs applause. Each mortgage statement is a reminder. This foundation belongs to me. My phone buzzes. A number I haven't seen in months. Jack, can we meet? I need to talk for a moment. I hover over ignore. Then I remember what therapy taught me. Avoidance keeps the past alive. Chosen engagement ends at coffee shop on Elm. Tomorrow, 4 p.m. He's already there when I arrive, thinner, older, fidgeting with a paper cup. When he sees me, he straightens. Thanks for coming, he says. What's going on? I ask, even-voiced. He stares into his coffee. Dad's sick. His lungs, years at the mill caught up. His voice breaks on the edge. I nod slowly. I'm sorry to hear that. He glances up, startled. That's it? No lecture about karma? Would it help anyone? Something flickers in his expression, a small, honest vulnerability I don't remember ever seeing. I'm working at Uncle Mike's garage now, he says. Taking night classes. Mechanical engineering. My eyebrows lift. That's great, Jack. He shrugs. I always wanted archaeology when we were kids. Never told anyone. Dad would have exploded. When you went after what you wanted, I was jealous. I should have said that instead of... He gestures vaguely at all of it. The mockery, the silence, the night of the shattered laptop. We talk for nearly an hour. Not about reconciling with our parents. Those bridges are long, Ash, but about beginnings. The possibility of new foundations. Family can wound deepest, I tell him as we stand to leave. but they can also grow. And if they don't, he asks, then you build something new. I nod toward the window where Annie's car waits at the curb, my steady, chosen family. Jack's gaze softens. Maybe we could talk again, sometime. On my terms, I say gently. He nods. Understood. As he walks away, his shoulders look lighter. Maybe mine do too. Outside, evening light turns the city gold. I pause before getting into Annie's car. The air smells of possibility. Real power, I think, isn't in the revenge or the victory. It's in reclaiming choice. If your family destroyed the tools of your success and tried to hold you down, would you forgive them or finally cut the chain for good? I'm still deciding, but for the first time in my life, the decision is mine to make.